The female body is not neutral territory. Every inch carries an invisible hierarchy of permissions, and when a woman lets you touch certain areas, she's not just being receptive, she's speaking a silent language. A language most men have no idea even exists. Most men fail because they touch without understanding what that touch actually means. They move too soon, unaware they've already been rejected, or hesitate when all signs say to act. And then they live in the dark, thinking attraction is luck, when it's really about reading signals. David Buss, one of the most important names in evolutionary psychology, spent decades studying human sexual selection. In his book, The Evolution of Desire, he reveals insights that should change how every man understands female interest. Women have developed highly sophisticated protection systems over millions of years. They don't let anyone get close for no reason. When she allows touch on certain areas, waist, lower back, neck, inner arms, she's signaling that her defenses are down. She's saying, "You've been approved." But approved for what? That's what you'll learn in this video. Because touch is never the start. Touch is the result, the consequence of everything you did before. Your posture, your presence, the tension you created, the way you occupy space. When she allows touch, she's confirming a decision she made in the first few seconds. You didn't earn it in that moment. You either sowed it before or you discovered you sowed nothing. If you've ever touched a woman and felt her pull back, her body stiffen, her eyes dart away, you know what I mean. And if you've experienced the opposite, her relaxing into your touch, leaning in naturally, you know that too. The difference is not luck, it's calibration, it's reading, it's mastery of a game most men don't even know exists, and that's exactly what I'm going to teach you. The invisible hierarchy of touch. Every woman has a mental map of her own body. She didn't create it consciously, and she may not even think about it, but it works automatically every time a man approaches her. This map helps her feel safe, judge intentions, and decide how close someone can get. It's like an internal security system, one she doesn't have to explain, but one that operates with incredible precision. Understanding this map is crucial for any man who wants to truly connect with a woman, because it reveals why certain touches are allowed and why others are rejected. In this map, there are three main zones. The first zone is what we can call public zones. These are areas of the body that almost anyone can touch without causing discomfort. A handshake is a perfect example, or a friendly pat on the shoulder during a conversation. These touches are neutral and socially acceptable. They don't convey personal interest, but they also don't trigger alarm. Public zones are safe, easy, and ordinary. The second zone is neutral zones. These areas require some level of familiarity before touch is allowed. Neutral zones might include the upper back, the arms, or hands in casual interaction. Touch here can happen if there is some trust or comfort, but it still doesn't reveal deeper feelings. These touches are small tests, and they give clues about how the woman feels. Touch in neutral zones may begin to build connection, but it's not a clear sign of interest yet. It's a step closer than public zones, but not the final step. The third zone is reserved zones. These are areas that are instinctively protected and off-limits unless the woman feels safe and interested. Reserved zones include the waist, lower back, neck, inner arms, and sometimes the face. These are private areas, and access to them is not given lightly. When a woman allows a man into these areas, it is not out of politeness. It is not by accident. It is a clear signal that she trusts him, that she feels safe, and that she sees him as someone more than a stranger. This is where most men fail to understand the dynamics of touch, because they either move too fast or too clumsily. The most common mistake men make is trying to enter these reserved zones before permission is earned. They act too quickly without reading the signals. When this happens, the result is always the same. The woman stiffens, her body tenses, her eyes shift away, and she creates distance. The man is left confused, thinking he was being bold or confident, when in reality he was perceived as intrusive. A moment that could have created attraction instead builds discomfort. Women's brains are extremely fast at processing touch. The response happens in milliseconds, often before the conscious mind even registers it. Touch that comes before comfort and connection is interpreted not as confidence, but as a threat. This is why timing and context are everything. It's not that women are rejecting the man personally, it's that the touch came before the relationship, the comfort, and the signals were ready. You're not rejected for trying, you're rejected for trying at the wrong time, in the wrong place, without building the right foundation first. Scientific studies confirm this. In 2015, researchers at Oxford University conducted one of the largest studies on touch ever done, looking at over a dozen people across 5 countries. Their findings confirmed what evolutionary psychology has long suggested. Women allow touch in sensitive areas only with men they feel a connection or attraction to. This is universal. It is instinctive. It is not something taught or learned culturally. Touch in reserved zones is a reflection of trust and interest, not politeness. When a woman allows a man into these sensitive zones, she is communicating something words cannot express. She is silently saying that she does not see him as a stranger. She is considering him as someone who matters. Every gesture, every pause, every subtle movement shows that she has allowed access because she feels safe and interested. This is why learning to read these signals is so important. Men who ignore them or misinterpret them often fail to realize that the opportunity is there, or that it passed because of their hesitation. The lower back is particularly revealing. This area is instinctively protected more than almost any other part of the body. When you guide a woman slightly by the lower back, or touch it gently in a moment of casual movement, and she relaxes instead of pulling away, it is a strong sign of trust. She is not giving permission for sexual contact. She is giving permission for leadership and guidance. She is unconsciously allowing you to assume a role of control in that moment. This is about presence, confidence, and trust. Qualities that communicate leadership without words. The difference between men who succeed and men who fail often comes down to understanding this hierarchy. Men who fail try to rush access to reserved zones. They move too fast, too soon, and their actions are misaligned with the signals. Women respond immediately with subtle shifts in body language, pulling away or stiffening, but many men do not notice. They think they were being daring when in fact they were being rejected silently. Men who understand this hierarchy move differently. They notice the small signs, a slight lean toward them, a hand brushing hair from the neck, the mirroring of gestures. They wait for permission that is communicated through posture and behavior, not words. When they do reach for a reserved area, the touch is natural, expected, and received positively. It is no longer an act of chance or luck. It is a precise response to signals the woman has been sending since the first few moments of the interaction. It is important to understand that touch is not the start of connection. Touch is the result. It reflects everything that has happened before: the presence you have projected, the tension and comfort you have built, the confidence and leadership you have shown. If you touch without these elements, the body perceives it as intrusion. If you touch with these elements, the body perceives it as guidance, care, and authority. Learning this hierarchy changes everything. You no longer approach touch randomly or hope for the best. You begin to understand that every inch of access is earned, every gesture is noticed, and every moment carries meaning. The male-female interaction is not chaotic. It is not random. It is a series of signals, responses, and calibrated touches that communicate trust, interest, and leadership without a single word. When a woman allows touch in these reserved zones, she is offering insight into her perception of you. She is showing how much she trusts you, how comfortable she feels, and how she values your presence. The act of permission is not just physical, it is symbolic. It says, "I see you, I feel safe with you, and I am open to more interaction." This is subtle, powerful, and incredibly meaningful, but it can only be understood by men who are attentive, patient, and aware of the signals. In short, the invisible hierarchy of touch is the key to understanding attraction, trust, and connection. Public zones are ordinary. Neutral zones are tests. Reserved zones are rewards. The lower back, the waist, the neck, and the inner arms are areas where trust and interest are revealed. Knowing when and how to touch is not manipulation. It is reading, it is timing, it is leadership. Men who master this hierarchy stop guessing. They stop moving blindly. They respond to what the woman's body is saying, not what they hope it will say. Understanding this chapter changes the way men approach women entirely. It makes every touch intentional, every gesture meaningful, and every interaction a reflection of the presence, confidence, and value they bring. When you understand the invisible hierarchy of touch, you are no longer a random participant in attraction. You become a man who sees, reads, and responds with precision, turning moments of interaction into moments of trust, connection, and unspoken communication. The signals before touch. No woman will ever look a man in the eyes and say, "You can touch me." It doesn't happen. This is not because she is hiding something or because she wants to play games. It's because female communication works on a completely different level than male communication. Women use subtle signals, body language, and silent permissions to show interest long before words are ever spoken. These signals are automatic, instinctive, and often invisible to anyone who hasn't learned to notice them. Most men expect clarity. They wait for verbal permission, for direct statements, for explicit cues, and because they are looking for this kind of communication, they miss what is happening right in front of them. Jeffrey Hall, a researcher at the University of Kansas, studied flirting behavior and found that men miss over 80% of the signals women give when they are interested. That means 8 out of 10 women who are showing attraction are completely overlooked. This is not because the signals are weak or unclear, they are there, but because men simply don't know how to read them. Before a woman allows touch, she performs unconscious tests. These are automatic actions designed to see if the man is trustworthy, confident, and aligned with her comfort and interest. She is not thinking, "I am testing him," but her body does it instinctively, without conscious thought. Learning to understand these tests is critical for a man who wants to respond appropriately and build connection naturally. The first test is proximity. Women instinctively judge how a man reacts to space. If she leans in closer during conversation, if she subtly reduces the distance between you, or if she finds excuses to be near you, she is testing how you handle personal space. Every step she takes closer is an opportunity to show your confidence and presence. If you react with nervousness or hesitation, she will sense it immediately. If you stay calm, grounded, and comfortable in your own space while accepting hers, you pass this first test. Proximity is not just physical, it's about showing that you can handle closeness without panic, discomfort, or overreaction. The second test is exposure. Women expose certain vulnerable areas of their body to signal comfort and trust. This might be touching the neck, adjusting hair to reveal the nape, or exposing wrists and inner arms. These areas are instinctively protected because they are sensitive and vulnerable. By showing them to you, she is giving you a silent signal. She trusts you in this moment. But exposure is not permission in itself. It is a signal that she is open to more, that she is comfortable, and that she is assessing your next steps carefully. The key is noticing it without overreacting, responding calmly, and letting the interaction flow naturally. The third test is mirroring. Mirroring is when she copies your gestures, energy, or rhythm without realizing it. If you shift your body, she shifts. If you laugh, she laughs. If you slow down your tone or lean in slightly, she adjusts to match. Mirroring is not conscious. It is a deep, instinctive sign of connection. It demonstrates synchronization between you and her. This is one of the clearest indicators that she is comfortable and attuned to your presence. Mirroring, when combined with proximity and exposure, is a powerful trio of signals that communicate trust and receptivity. When these three signals, proximity, exposure, and mirroring, appear together, touch is not only allowed, it becomes expected. It is the natural next step in the interaction. This is when a man's understanding and presence truly matter. Most men, however, fail at this point. They notice the signals but hesitate. They doubt themselves, searching for additional confirmation. They wait, overthink, or freeze. And while they hesitate, the opportunity closes. The window for escalation is small. Attention has a short shelf life. Women may initially be receptive, but hesitation communicates insecurity, indecision, and lack of leadership. These are the opposite of the qualities that she is unconsciously looking for. The man who succeeds behaves differently. He acts with calm precision. He reads the signals accurately. He moves without desperation. His actions are intentional but measured. When she is leaning in, exposing herself, and mirroring him, he responds in ways that gently test receptivity without forcing the interaction. He may lightly guide her with a subtle gesture, a hand on the back while walking, a light touch on the arm during a point, a guiding motion in conversation. He observes her response closely. Does she relax? Does she lean in? Does she maintain contact just a moment longer than necessary? Each subtle reaction is feedback. Each pause, each movement, communicates whether the door is open or closed. This is not about rushing or being bold. It is about timing, reading, and calibration. Touch comes as a natural consequence of signals she is already sending. It is not the start of attraction. It is the result of all the unconscious communication that has been happening since the first seconds of interaction. When the signals align and the man responds correctly, the interaction flows naturally. There is no tension, no awkwardness. The woman does not need to explain herself because her body has already communicated her interest clearly. Reading these signals takes awareness and patience. It requires observation and restraint. The man must notice micro-expressions, shifts in posture, and subtle adjustments. He must respond with confidence, calmness, and precision. He must understand that these signals are not invitations for immediate physical contact in a reckless or random way. They are tests of his ability to respond appropriately. Each signal is meaningful. Each gesture is intentional on her part, even if she does not consciously recognize it. Mastering this skill separates men who move naturally in interactions from those who stumble blindly. It is the difference between creating connection and creating discomfort. Men who understand these signals act like leaders of the interaction. They do not force, they do not plead. They read, calibrate, and respond with quiet authority. When done correctly, the result is seamless. The woman feels safe, understood, and engaged. She relaxes into the interaction. She leans in. She maintains contact. She allows touch because her instincts already tell her it is safe. In conclusion, the signals before touch are the invisible language of attraction. They are subtle, unconscious, and often overlooked by men. Proximity, exposure, and mirroring are the primary tests a woman uses to assess interest, comfort, and trust. Recognizing these signals is not guessing. It is reading her body, her energy, and her subconscious communication. Men who understand this act with timing and precision. They do not hesitate. They do not force. They respond to the signals that are already present. In doing so, they turn fleeting moments into meaningful connection and random encounters into opportunities for trust, interest, and natural physical escalation. The signals before touch are the key to understanding how attraction develops naturally. Learn them, read them, respect them, and when you respond correctly, you are no longer acting blindly. You are leading the interaction. You are converting subtle interest into clear, confident connection. You are no longer guessing. You are understanding. You are no longer just present. You are noticed. What a loud touch reveals about your value. A loud touch never happens in isolation. It is never random. When a woman lets your hand rest on her waist, does not pull away from your touch, or maintains contact just a little longer than necessary, she is communicating far more than you might realize. She is confirming a decision that her body made long before your hand even reached her. This is not about a momentary choice. It is the result of everything you communicated in the first seconds of your interaction, even the things you didn't consciously know you were sending. From the very beginning, her brain is analyzing you at a level most men never notice. She is processing your posture, the tone of your voice, how you occupy space, the rhythm of your movements, and the way you look at her. Every micro-expression, every slight gesture, every subtle adjustment in your energy is being evaluated. Before she allows your touch, she has already made a calculation. Does this man have presence, confidence, and leadership? Is he someone she can trust? Is he someone she wants to let into her personal space? Understanding the difference between tolerated touch and desired touch is essential. Tolerated touch is neutral. Her body stays distant, polite, and composed. She allows it not because she wants it, but because rejecting it would be socially awkward. It carries no energy, no engagement, no genuine interest. It is safe and neutral, like a handshake or a brief pat on the back. It is a signal that she is maintaining boundaries, not opening them. Desired touch, on the other hand, is completely different. Her body relaxes, her breathing subtly changes, she may lean in closer, maintain contact longer, and sometimes even return the touch without thinking. This is a powerful, silent signal that she trusts you, is comfortable with you, and is responding to your presence. Desired touch is instinctive. It is not about words, explanations, or conscious decisions. Her body is saying, "You are someone I feel safe with. You are someone I am interested in. You are someone I am allowing closer because of the energy you bring." This principle is reinforced by Robert Cialdini's concept of scarcity. Rare things are perceived as valuable. Things that are available all the time become ordinary. The same applies to touch. The man who touches randomly, constantly, or without reason diminishes its impact. Each touch becomes ordinary, predictable, and loses its power. On the other hand, the man who touches intentionally, in the right moments, creates meaning and anticipation. Every touch carries weight. It becomes memorable. It communicates presence, purpose, and confidence. She notices, she feels it, she responds. Touch is not only a sign of connection, it is also a tool of silent leadership. When you guide her with a hand on her lower back while walking, subtly attract her closer during conversation, or hold her hand to lead her safely through a crowd, you are not just touching her, you are communicating authority and care. These touches are not casual. They are meaningful gestures that demonstrate presence, responsibility, and leadership. Women respond to this instinctively. They do not respond because they are submissive. They respond because it creates a feeling of safety, trust, and reassurance. Leadership communicated through touch activates a deeply rooted, evolutionary sense of security. It signals that you know what you are doing, that you can handle the moment, and that you are someone worth allowing closer. When you understand this, touch becomes a mirror of the man you are. It reflects your confidence, your awareness, your ability to read signals, and your understanding of timing. A loud touch reveals her perception of your value long before any words are exchanged. If she relaxes, leans in, or maintains contact, she is silently giving you permission and approval. If she stiffens or withdraws, she is signaling caution. In both cases, her body communicates honestly, instantly, and without pretense. She is never misleading. She simply responds to what she senses in you. Strategic touch transforms ordinary interactions into meaningful connections. It is not about manipulation, pressure, or sexual intent. It is about understanding signals, timing, and context. When you touch with awareness, your actions reinforce trust, leadership, and presence. Each touch becomes an opportunity to communicate who you are, to show that you can lead, and to strengthen the bond between you. The woman's response tells you more than words ever could. It confirms attraction, comfort, and respect, all through silent physical communication. Mastering this understanding requires patience and attention. It requires noticing subtle cues, a slight relaxation in her body, a small movement toward you, a hand that lingers. These are not coincidences, they are deliberate responses from her subconscious. A man who can read these cues accurately acts with intention. He responds at the right time, in the right way, and with the right level of touch. He does not rush. He does not overstep. He lets the signals guide him, and his presence amplifies the impact. The allowed touch is more than physical contact. It is a reflection of your value in her eyes. It is her way of showing that she perceives you as someone confident, capable, and worth trusting. Each touch carries meaning. Each reaction is a response to the energy, the leadership, and the presence you have displayed. Tolerated touch reveals boundaries. Desired touch reveals approval. Touched strategically, with understanding and awareness, you communicate authority, confidence, and care without words. Ultimately, a loud touch is a mirror. It tells you how she feels, how she perceives you, and how your presence affects her. It is proof that attraction is not accidental, and that connection is built through timing, attention, and the way you project yourself. It separates men who stumble in the dark from men who move with clarity and purpose. The man who understands this does not just touch, he leads. He communicates through presence, through energy, and through the strategic, meaningful use of touch. He becomes a man who is seen, noticed, and respected. Understanding what a loud touch reveals about your value is a turning point. It shows that every interaction carries a message, every movement communicates meaning, and every gesture is noticed. When you respond correctly, touch becomes a tool, a mirror, and a signal of trust and attraction. It is the silent language of connection, leadership, and instinctive approval, a language that only the attentive, aware, and confident man can truly understand and use. The touch she allows, or rejects, doesn't tell you about her. It tells you about you, your presence, your tension, your ability to read signals, your courage to act. The female body is an exquisitely calibrated system. It doesn't lie. When she relaxes, leans in, or maintains touch longer than necessary, she's responding to what you transmit, not her conscious choice. Carl Jung studied archetypes and found that the feminine responds to ancestral images of masculinity, protector, conductor, man of unwavering presence. When you embody these qualities through posture, gaze, energy, the touch comes naturally. She approaches because something in her recognizes something in you. Most men spend their lives decoding female behavior as if it were random, relying on techniques and lines that fail. But the problem is not women. The problem is the lack of internal structure, presence, and substance behind the man's actions. Touch is perception. Perception never lies. Now you have knowledge most men never will. The hierarchy of touch, the silent signals, the value assigned to you before contact occurs, and the difference between touching and conducting. So the question is simple: what will you do with this? If this video opened your eyes, subscribe. Every week I share deep, direct insights on attraction. No fluff, no empty promises, just truth. And if you want to go deeper, to read signals, build tension, and guide every interaction from the first glance to touch and beyond, you need my seduction code. A method built on behavioral psychology, neuroscience, and field-tested strategies. It teaches how to see if she's open or closed in seconds, how to build tension without force, how to escalate touch with surgical precision. Advanced techniques you won't find in public videos. Stop guessing, stop relying on luck. Step out of the darkness while others seem to understand what you don't. The choice is yours.